adversity or opportunity. In life, things will come up that you know you need to do, but don't necessarily want to do. And the reason that you need to do them is to take your projects to the next step or to the next level. It could be a phone call. It could be writing a song. It could be some other action, but you would rather be laying in bed than doing that thing, even though it's a really great opportunity. And when I talk about this, I'm really talking to myself as much as anyone else. Like, I'm giving myself a prep talk here because I find myself in this situation. There's a bunch of stuff where I know things can go to the next level, and for some reason, like, I don't feel like I have the motivation to do it right now. It's human nature to like wish and hope for and to play for and to work towards a lot of things in our lives. It could be a relationship, but suddenly it's on the table and you realize, gosh, like, I don't really feel like I have a lot of time. And plus now I have to plan dates. Like, this is so much more work than I originally thought it was going to be, even though it's something that's supposed to be fun. Or maybe your career or business is going to the next level and you realize, like, yeah, that's amazing, and it's what I've always hoped for and always wished for and have been working towards. And yet now that it's in front of me, it's like, oh my God, this is going to be so much more work than I originally thought it was going to be. And you're kind of seeing a pattern, I'm sure. Like, everything's that way. You get to a point and something new is on the table, and suddenly it's like, that's really great. And I've been wanting that, and I'm really, really been sitting and having that happen in my life. And yet now that it's here, it's like, oh no, I suddenly realize, like, that's just going to be more work. And not having any motivation, quote unquote, can come from a lot of different places too. It could be that you've been resting for a while, or you went on vacation and came back and now you see things a little differently. And those types of situations, like, there's usually nothing wrong. There's just something to recognize about the situation. And so a lot of reflecting and thinking might lead you to the point of understanding, like, oh, okay, like, this is why I kind of needed to sit for a little bit before jumping right back into my routine, because my routine before was insanity. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I notice this about every time I go away and actually take some time off to rest and do nothing else, and then eventually, like, reflect and think about where I've been. I usually realize, like, some part of what I was doing almost always was like an insanity cycle that needed to be stopped anyway. And so there's often a need to start fresh. I also find that going back to something that you enjoy can really help you get back into things. Like, okay, so you might not love everything about what it is that you do, but find the piece that you still love and still enjoy and still have a passion for, and try to work that into your day before trying to get back to the other minutia of things that you don't really enjoy. And the other thing I can say about motivation is, I think the biggest question of all is actually why. So why is it that you're doing what you're doing? And I think people assume that this is just going to stay static their whole lives. Like, your why will always be that one thing you identified at a seminar when you were 21. I mean, I wish it worked that way. Wouldn't that be awesome? And yet your why, your motivation, your core mission can totally change over time. And I think it's actually important to be super sensitive to that. And sometimes it's just a subtle shift, right? You might go from, I'm here to inspire the world, to being slightly more specific, like, I'm here to inspire artists and creatives, which is kind of where I went for a while. That may not be your mission at all. I think chances are you have something different than I do. But the point being, if you go back and really look at, like, why are you doing what you're doing, and if your assumed motivation or your assumed purpose is no longer true, it's time to review it and perhaps create a new one. One other thing I'll say, although I don't think it's anywhere near as big as your why, is to remember that you are what you do. Your identity tends to form around the things that you do consistently. And consistently could be daily or weekly. Chances are whatever you do every single day, though, you're going to relate to on a deeper level as being something that you are. And so artists who don't feel like artists, it's like you should play music every day because that would make the biggest difference for you. And getting into that habit and not breaking the chain, although initially starting a new habit is always kind of painful. Sticking with it will form that positive identity for you. Working out's the same way, right? And I think I've told the story about how, like, in February of 2023, I finally decided that I wanted to get back into weightlifting and working out, and how week one or first two workouts, I should say, were so kind of like, oh my God, this is painful. I don't want to do this. Not as in like I was sore all over. Sure, I was a little bit sore. It was more so just like, man, I feel kind of tired and I had to breathe so hard to keep up with this workout and all those other little things that kind of made me go, I don't want to do it. But once I stuck with it, it was like 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. And then I stayed consistent with that for quite a while. So if for some reason you're not happy with your identity, look at what you're doing on a consistent basis. So when is something an adversity and when is something an opportunity? Well, if you know me, then you know what I'm going to say, which is that at the end of the day, it's all opportunity. There's no such thing as adversity unless it's the end. If a health scare shows up in your world, no, it's not fun. No, it's not ideal. No, it's not something that you necessarily even want to face. And it's so much of the time, it's like a waiting game. I'm feeling horrible. I had to book some time with my doctor. Now I've got to wait 2 weeks. And I know my doctor is just going to tell me to go and get a blood test. And that's going to take another week. And in the meantime, I'm really scared about what the hell it is I might have. Health scares are just your body letting you know that you got to take care of yourself in a completely different way that you haven't really done to this point. If you're going through financial troubles, it's the same thing. It's just your finances letting you know that you can't spend the way that you've been spending and be able to live. You need to downgrade your lifestyle for a while and try a different approach. When things aren't going well in your relationship, I mean, chances are there's just a better way to do it between you two, or there's something better waiting for you on the other side. And I know we don't always want to hear that. It can be really hard letting go of people sometimes. But I have to tell you from just far too many experiences that if someone isn't really working out, then it probably wasn't meant to be. And it was just an experience that you needed in your life to learn something. And so focus on what it is that you learned from that situation. Focus on the lesson. That's where the value is, not on the heartache, right? Like the heartache could be letting you know something too about who to trust in your life. But aside from that, I would say, breakups are predominantly like, what lesson can I take away from this and implement? So next time you come across what you think is occurring to you as adversity, and it may be, right? I really can't downplay anything because I've experienced all kinds of things myself. And even when I'm sharing things as a coach, I recognize like sometimes I'm going to be put to the test too in what I say. But recognize that whatever may be showing up to you as adversity, there's almost certainly the seed of opportunity within it. And you must identify what that is. If there's a health scare, it's just your body letting you know you got to start taking care of yourself. And if you make a mistake on stage, maybe there's more practice to be had, right? Maybe you're not quite as good as you think yet, and that's okay. Practice takes time. So don't be hard on yourself. There's always an opportunity hidden in every adversity.
Unlock the secrets to skyrocketing your productivity, boosting performance, and maximizing profits with my latest premium guide, the Productivity, Performance, and Profits Blackbook. Tailored for independent artists and entrepreneurs, this comprehensive resource is your roadmap to turning ideas into reality. Say goodbye to abandoned projects collecting dust on your shelves or buried in your hard drives. It's time to bring your vision to life. Grab your free copy of the Productivity, Performance, and Profits Blackbook now at davidandrewweeb.com/blackbook. That's WIEBE. Don't miss out on the key to unlocking your success.